Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon, and we're going to talk about PlayStation. Sony is cutting PlayStation jobs despite growth, according to Kotaku, who I think got it from Axios. We're going to go out and look at these articles here. But yeah, Sony is laying off some people in PlayStation, and these people were sales and marketing professionals. They were completely caught off guard. They're talking about how the PlayStation brand is growing here in the US. I mean, it's hard to find a PS5, right? It really is hard to find a PS5. We have one. We got one. Geeky was lucky enough to get one at, I think, Target. People weren't going to the Target website when they were doing pre-orders, and so we did manage to score one. You can go out and see the opening, the unboxing. It's okay. It's an okay system. It looks like an air purifier. It's awfully big, and I'll be honest, I haven't noticed that much of a difference between the PS4 and PS5 games. I mean, some of them, look pretty good on the PS5. They look good, but again, compared to PC games, we've kind of plateaued, right? Anyway, that's neither here nor there. The quality of the system is neither here nor there. It is interesting because in Japan, the PlayStation brand is in decline. Like, the PS5 is not doing well. Nintendo is kicking their asses over there, and PlayStation was a very, very Japanese brand for a very, very long time, and they're not doing very well over there. So eventually, I think we're going to see a decline over here as well, especially as people are getting frustrated that almost 2 years after it's been introduced, or a year and a half after it's been introduced, you still can't find a damn PS5, and you're not going to sell PS5 software if nobody can buy a PS5, so that's a problem. But let's talk about this. Sales and marketing people blindsided. They usually are. I've worked in marketing before, and I'll tell you the truth, marketing people are usually the very first people to get cut. For whatever reason, companies think it's smart to turn off marketing when they need to actually be increasing sales. But again, what's the point of advertising a PS5 if you can't actually sell them? So before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Over 262,000 subs. Thank you so much for the support. We do talk about video game news sometimes, not as much as we used to. We talk about stuff here and there, but this is pretty interesting. Geeky sent it over this morning. I guess this news is a couple of days old, but it was the first I'd heard of it. Sony is cutting PlayStation jobs despite growth. This is coming from Kotaku, which I guess Kotaku's decided to start writing again. I guess their strike lasted about 2 days. I don't know. Sony is cutting up to 90 jobs from its merchandiser and retail marketing teams as part of a global transformation, according to a new report by Axios, and we'll go out there and look at that. The layoffs come despite the continued growth of PlayStation thanks to the success of the PS5, and some employees were caught off guard by the move. Axios reported the layoffs based in Sony's North America operations go into effect this week, which happens to coincide with the end of the company's fiscal year. That is when Disney lays people off too. When most companies do their layoffs, they take a look at the books and they're like, yep, we got to save some money, and here's where we're going to save it. The merchandise team included PlayStation representatives who would interact with physical retail locations. The retail marketing team was also affected, with one source telling Kotaku it was shut down completely. Now, this gives away my age a little bit, but back in the day, I was actually a Nintendo sales dude, and I had my little Mario jacket. And I worked at a KB toy store, and my job was to shill Super Nintendos. That's what I did. I shilled Super Nintendos. And I used the money from KB to buy a Sega CD. Go figure. But I wasn't the Sega guy. I was the Nintendo guy. So I had to tell everybody that, you want to stick with the Super Nintendo because that PlayStation thing coming out, it's not going to be any good. You don't want a PlayStation. Sony doesn't know how to make video games. Keep playing Super Nintendo, guys. And in hindsight, the Super NES games aged much, much better than the PS1 games, a lot of them, and definitely better than the Sega CD. But I digress. I get it. I know how it works. I think Geeky worked as an N64 or Dreamcast salesperson at Sears back in the day too. So I've done the job. Sony did not respond to a request for comment. The layoffs come as the global pandemic creeps into its third year. 2 weeks, guys. 2 weeks. And as more and more of gaming culture and commerce moves online. Sony reported last year that 62% of all PlayStation games sold are now purchased digitally. And for much of the pandemic, PS5s were predominantly sold through online retailers rather than in store. Yes, because you cannot find them in stores. The layoffs also appear to have come suddenly and somewhat unexpectedly, with employees only given 2 weeks' notice of the transformation, according to two sources familiar with the announcement. Axios reports one of the workers affected was disappointed the company had not told the department about the cuts sooner and felt Sony could have done more to find people alternate roles. They could have, but they didn't. There are lots of jobs out there, though. I mean, it sucks. It sucks, but I'm saying, like, it's not like we're dealing with a shortage of job opportunities. Literally every place I walk into these days, they've got a sign up that they're hiring, and they're starting people at ridiculous wages too, because nobody can find workers. While the PS5 continues to sell out everywhere, lifetime sales are still behind where the PS4 was at this point due to ongoing parts shortages. And also the cost, and also maybe people are over Sony. I don't know. I mean, I know that it is difficult to find a PS5, but most of the buzz I'm hearing are games coming out for, even the Switch and the PCs. Again, we have a PS5. It's okay. It's okay. It's a little bit better than the PS4, but I don't think you're really missing much yet. There hasn't been any real show-stopping software to come out for it yet. It's basically just, these games are slightly better than the PS4 Pro version. Sony announced earlier this week it would combine both its PS Plus and PS Now console subscription services into a rebranded monthly program with 3 different tiers starting in June. The most expensive tier would include access to a library of classic PS1, PS2, and PSP games. According to this person here, Sarusa, sorry USA, it was only 90 sales and marketing drones. They've understandably decided that retail sales aren't a big deal anymore and are cutting back on that. That's true. I guess they're upset they only got the standard 2 weeks of warning, but the job market now is so good if you don't piss yourself in the interview, you can get a job easily. That is also true. I've had a couple jobs where the entire company is called into a room and told the company is shutting down today. 2 weeks is more warning than I've ever had. That is also true. I've been laid off before, and things were going good at the company financially, and they're like, yeah, we're just laying a bunch of you off, and if you got called into the office today, that means you're no longer working here as of noon. So get your shit and get out the door. That's how it works. A company with over 100,000 employees laid off 90. It's not that those 90 got laid off. It's the fact they weren't given sufficient time to start looking for new employment. A couple of years ago, nobody would have known this even happened. Would have been like, yeah, I worked at Sony and now I don't. Next. But now with the internet, now non-news is news. But it's going to be really interesting to see how Sony restructures. The bigger issue for me is that the brand is in decline in Japan, and I have to wonder if we're going to actually have a PS6 at some point. If there isn't really a global audience anymore. It does seem like PlayStation 5 is designed more for Western audiences. At this point, Western AAA titles and that sort of thing. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, guys. Pretty interesting stuff, though. We're going to keep following the situation with Sony. I know there are some players that are not happy with the censorship, and it's so weird because you listen to this channel and we talk a lot about Sony when it comes to movies, and I've actually been pretty happy with how they've been treating classic franchises. Haven't seen Morbius yet. I've heard it wasn't very good. I have no desire really to run out and see it. But, overall, I think they've been pretty decent in handling a lot of classic IP. Ghostbusters, they've walked it back. Cobra Kai is very good. And, I like Spider-Man No Way Home quite a bit. So I've been happy in that regard. But as far as the video game side of things goes, I think they've been very censor happy. I think they've been quote unquote woke. And it does seem like they're catering to a certain audience, a certain demographic here in the U.S. And they basically told their Japanese counterparts to go, take a hike. They shut down the Japan studio, I think, too. So it's not looking too good for them in Japan. But you know what? The Sega Genesis, it was kind of the same situation where Japan had kind of given up on the Genesis on the Mega Drive, and it still did gangbusters over here in the States. So who the hell knows? I'm going to wrap this one up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.